Dundee goes in there, and obviously there's this whole new crew that he's coming in with from Memphis, and he has guys who have been there for a while, so he has, you know, a nice slate of players to figure out what programs everyone's going to work, but there are certain things in play already that he kind of inherits. I mean, it wasn't overt yet, but clearly TA and 2, you know, that was a multi-month build, because it wasn't just the turn, it was everything into the relationship. So what's it like for a booker when you go somewhere like working for Bill Watts and you have free reign to come up with your own programs, and I guess not free reign, because then you got to pitch it to Watts, but you're inheriting programs that are already starting or going already.
Well, but see, here's the thing. In those days, you could alter things and make them fit what you wanted to do sometimes. But Dundee, the Watts came up in early November to Memphis and looked at everybody. And the deal was made then, and we made our first TV taping the day before Thanksgiving of '83. And then we made another one in December, and we didn't start until Christmas night on the road in the towns. So they knew there was going to be a change in bookers for at least 6 weeks before Dundee showed up. And then by the same token, whoever was booking Watts in the end, you know, understood everything and approved everything. So if he already had something going on, they could, in other words, Dundee did not fire the whole crew because they had some really, really good talent. It just that Ernie Ladd had been the booker. And as a matter of fact, he was at our first TV. That's where I first met Ernie as being in the business, right? Oh my God. And me and Bobby and Dennis walk in TV at Shreveport at the Boys Club, and there is Ernie Ladd, 6'9", and he'd gained weight from his 325 days at that point. I was toward the end of his career. But he's enormous, and there's Watts is enormous, and there's Nikolai Volkov is 6'5", 320, and there's Darso is 300 pounds, and Butch Reed, and there's JYD. And here comes fucking Duggan, who's probably the smallest one of the bunch of them at 6'4", 275 pounds or whatever. And me and Bobby and Dennis and Ricky Robert in the corner, too, are over there. We're like, what the fuck? When Ernie Ladd would crack his fingers when he was sitting there reading his book, it would sound like somebody breaking fucking tree limbs. So they just needed to change the in-ring style to give them more action. There was nothing wrong with any of that talent, and it all still got used, except Ernie said, I got to wring my brain out. Your brain is like a sponge. And I'm tagging out so that I can wring my brain out. They added Terry Taylor and the Rock and Roll and the Midnight. And myself, as far as Akbar had just been there. I was pretty much as opposite a manager from Akbar as you could get. So they just needed to integrate some variety because everybody was big and smash mouth and it just wasn't working. But all those guys individually then went on to draw with different people that they brought in because there was some variety in that. And anyway, nevertheless, when we went in there, for example, the thing was already going with the teacher student thing. They wanted to make a star out of Magnum, and JR will tell you this, and I think Dundee will also, but I've heard JR tell a story. Watts originally was thinking about turning Magnum heel and having him be the one to stab his legendary, veteran, beloved, mentor in the back. But JR pointed out and said, but look at Magnum, even though he's not like the happy, giggly, smiling, but look at Magnum. He's he looks like a star. He looks like Tom Selleck. He's just still a rookie. He's got all these years, tremendous upside, should have had. And look at Johnny Walker, Wrestling 2. He's about to retire. He only did work, I think, another year, really, and then made a few shots in Georgia. He's in his mid-50s. He really was kind of a cranky guy. He didn't like to meet the fans. He didn't ride with the other guys. He rode in his I remember seeing he had this little car. It wasn't a sports car. It was just a little car. And 5 miles away from the building, you would see him with his fucking mask on driving to the building if you passed him in traffic. But he was just cranky. Didn't like to associate with the fans at that point. He was ready to get off the road. Turn him as heel. And that's and it actually worked. And he had a nice little run as a heel. And the only bad thing was when the whole fiasco with JYD and just the knee lift that he didn't realize he should have been knocked out by or whatever the fuck. Did not do any of them any favors, but Wrestling 2 is pretty good heel for the rest of the summer and fall there, as I remember.
You know, Ernie Ladd certainly had slowed down. He was towards the end of his career, but the biggest mistake Ernie Ladd made, and it's apparent in '84, was shaving his facial hair off and getting the short cropped afro.
Yes, it wasn't flattering.
No. No.
It was not flattering, but that's the thing, you know, and you talked about input in the booking. So once again, Dundee used all those guys. If you were a good booker, no good booker ever assembled his entire roster from scratch. If he got a job booking, he inherited a roster that then he would evaluate. Maybe he hadn't even been in the territory. Maybe he's come in and he's taken the book because business is down and they need to make a drastic change. So he's come in and he looks at everybody for the first few weeks and he sees what the fuck is going on. And obviously the promoter has any fucking sense. If it's been a heated parting with the previous booker, the promoter knows what's been going on. So he's filled him in and they've fucking switched some shit around. And he starts calling his fucking guys that he wants to bring in, that he feels comfortable working with and push, that have drawn him money before. And he brings those guys in. But like when the book switched from Dundee to Lawler in Memphis in March of '83, there were probably 18 guys full-time in the territory. But Lawler had to get rid of about 6 of them real quick because he'd already promised 6 guys, more guys than that jobs. That's why we had 40 guys that summer. He'd promised more guys than that jobs with a new company he was going to start if Jarrett didn't split the company with him. So one Monday night, my entire roster of Jesse Barr and Adrian Street and Miss Linda, along with the sheep herders, who were all guys that Dundee had brought in, had to lose or leave town match with the fabulous ones. Oh, God damn it. This is on my DVD, Jim Cornette, The Rookie Year, that you can buy at jimcornette.com. It was the fabulous ones. I think it was Steve-O and Dundee probably. I can't. Anyway, the point is, my whole team left town at the same time. Because Lawler had guys who were scheduled to start on TV the next week. But the booker, you would bring your guys in that you like to work with, but you'd bring them in on top positions. You wouldn't bring guys in just to jerk the curtain because you liked having them around. That's what you would do with the guys that had been in the territory previously that you didn't want to use, but the promoter didn't want you to fire them, so you just put them in fucking opening matches until they'd get the idea to find a place where they would be used better and they'd make more money and they'd leave on their own. That's the way you did it. And then over a period of time, the booker would have pretty much control of, okay, now everything I'm starting is shit that I want to do, and he'd make his changes from there. It was a process because you didn't just start from scratch. I started from scratch with Smoky Mountain, but that's only when you start the whole fucking company from scratch.
One of the saddest things ever heard in wrestling history, of course, was I lost or lose a Leaves Town match to Steve-O.
Yeah.
A phrase not heard often.